Can you imagine waking up to find your entire parking lot turned into a clown show by one woman with a paint roller and a vendetta? That's exactly what happened in my quiet little townhouse community, Willow Grove, on a Saturday morning I'll never forget. I was nursing my coffee, still half asleep, when the blare of car horns and furious shouting yanked me to the window. Outside, our neat parking lot looked like a toddler's art project, lines zigzagging, spaces overlapping, some just gone. And there, in the middle of it all, stood Lisa Harper, a middle-aged woman with a sharp blonde bob, brandishing a paint roller like she was some kind of parking lot Picasso. Neighbors were losing it, while VYing at cars that were either trapped or couldn't fit into her mangled spaces. I shuffled outside, rubbing sleep from my eyes, and caught up with my neighbor Mike. "What the hell happened?" I asked. He sighed. "Lisa happened. She decided the parking spots were too narrow and repainted them last night. Now it's a damn circus." I squinted at Lisa, paint splattered on her fancy yoga outfit, standing there proud as a peacock. "I fixed it," she bellowed to anyone listening. "These lines were illegal. The HOA ignored me for months. The spaces were too tight, that's why my BMW got scratched last week." Just as I was about to wade into the chaos, red and blue lights flashed at the complex entrance. Someone had called the cops. I couldn't help but smirk as Lisa's smug grin flickered. I'd only been in Willow Grove for 3 months, but Lisa's reputation preceded her. She wasn't the HOA president, or even on the board, but she acted like the queen of rules and regulations. 2 days after I moved in, she slapped a laminated note on my door because my welcome mat was, get this, half an inch too wide. It only got worse. She'd measure lawn grass with a ruler, snap photos of cars parked an inch too far from the curb, and even carried a scale to weigh dogs in the park, claiming the 20-pound pet limit was gospel. The actual HOA board seemed worn out by her, but nobody dared challenge her rulebook obsession. The parking drama started a month ago when someone's car door nicked Lisa's precious BMW. Instead of handling it like a normal person, she declared war on the parking lot itself. At the next HOA meeting, she showed up with a stack of printouts, random parking lot dimensions, none from actual city codes. "These spaces are dangerously narrow," she preached, jabbing at her PowerPoint like a prosecutor. "I measured them myself. They're 4 inches too small. This is a lawsuit waiting to happen." The board president, a saintly guy named DVYD, calmly explained that the lot was professionally designed and city approved. "Lisa, we can't just repaint it because you think it's wrong." She pushed for a vote to restripe the lot, even claiming she'd gotten quotes from contractors. It was shot down unanimously. Lisa stormed out, muttering about negligence and safety risks. We thought she'd let it go. We were dead wrong. The next week, people spotted her creeping around the lot at night, measuring spaces and scribbling with chalk. Someone snapped a photo and tossed it in our community chat, but we figured she was just building her next HOA slideshow. Nobody expected her to go full VY Gillante. Yet last night, under cover of darkness, Lisa struck. Armed with gallons of yellow paint, rollers, and hand-drawn diagrams, she single-handedly redid the entire lot. She widened spaces, angled them like a drunk architect, and erased a quarter of the spots to fit her better design. The result? Pure chaos. DRIVYing lanes were too narrow to navigate. Some spaces overlapped, others were so wonky they were useless. Cars were stuck, and tempers were flaring. My doorbell camera caught the whole saga, Lisa rolling up at midnight, painting like a woman possessed until 4 a.m. I sent the footage to the HOA board and scrolled through our chat, which was exploding. "She's lost it," wrote Mrs. Larson from Unit 107. "I can't get to work," groaned Dr. Patel from the corner unit. A cop was now talking to Lisa, who clutched her roller like a sword. "I'm making it safer," she shouted. "Do you know how many scratches these substandard spaces caused? I've got a binder of proof." Sure enough, she yanked a 3-ring binder from her tote, flipping through photos of car doors with tiny dings, each labeled like a crime scene. The officer, keeping his cool, asked, Ma'am, did you have permission from the HOA or property management to do this? Lisa scoffed. I don't need permission to fix a safety hazard. As a taxpayer, I have the right. The cop's face said he knew this wasn't going to be easy. Actually, you do need permission. Altering traffic markings without authorization breaks city ordinances. I need your ID. Lisa's face turned beet red. This is harassment. I want your super VY SOAR. A crowd was forming, phones out, recording every second. The VYD, the HOA president, was talking to another officer, pointing at the mess. I caught words like criminal mischief and property damage. Things spiraled fast. Lisa refused to hand over her ID, insisting she was performing a public service. When the cops said she was being detained for questioning, she tried to march off, claiming she had important business. The officer's voice sharpened. Ma'am, stop walking away. Lisa spun around, jabbing a finger at him. Do you know who I am? My cousin's a deputy in Riverside. I'll have your badge. It was like watching a train wreck. You couldn't look away. The cop, done with her nonsense, pulled out handcuffs. Turn around, ma'am. Lisa's jaw dropped. You can't be serious. I'm improv-vying the community. But the cuffs clicked on, and she was read her Miranda rights in front of 20 gawking neighbors. As she was led to the cruiser, she yelled, Call my lawyer! His number's in my phone! Nobody budged. With Lisa gone, the damage was clear. City inspectors showed up and confirmed the lot was a disaster, lanes too tight for fire trucks, handicap spaces erased, angles creating blind spots. The VYD called an emergency HOA meeting that night. The room was packed, and he looked exhausted. Lisa's been charged with criminal mischief, vandalism, and creating a safety hazard, he said. The lot needs to be repaved and restriped by pros. Cost, about $22,000. The room groaned. But, he added, since we have VY proof she acted alone, we're going after her for the money. Lisa's husband, a quiet guy named Tom who rarely showed up, stood up, red-faced. I'm so sorry for her actions, he mumbled. She gets passionate about rules. Someone snorted. That's one way to put it. Lisa was bailed out that evening and went straight to the VYD's door, pounding like a hurricane. I was walking my dog and overheard her. You traitor! She screamed. I fixed your useless board's mess, and you had me arrested. My lawyer's suing the HOA for unsafe conditions. The VYD, cool as ever, said, Lisa, you're suspended from HOA activities pending a vote to ban you permanently. The police told you not to talk about this. Follow their advice. She spotted me and pointed. And you, with your sneaky camera. That's illegal spying. I shrugged. It's my doorbell cam, Lisa. Perfectly legal. Really helped the cops, too. If glares could kill, I'd be toast. She stormed off, already on her phone, probably dialing her lawyer. The next few days were tense. We had to park in a nearby church lot while pros fixed the pavement. Lisa taped signs to her windows screaming, HOA corruption, and justice for safety, which the HOA quickly flagged as violations. 3 weeks later, her court date arrived. I went with a few neighbors, curious to see her defense. Lisa showed up in a prim blue suit, quieter than I'd ever seen her. Her lawyer tried to spin her as a concerned citizen, but the EVY Densimi VY Deo, photos, inspector reports was ironclad. The judge wasn't buying Lisa's teary story about her scratched BMW. Mrs. Harper, she said sharply, VY Gillanti parking lot redesign isn't community service. You caused over $20,000 in damage and real safety risks. Lisa was hit hard, full restitution for repairs, a $5,000 fine, 2 years of probation, and 200 hours of community service picking up highway trash in a bright orange vest. The kicker? The HOA got a restraining order banning her from board duties or meetings for 5 years. Her face crumpled like she'd been slapped. Your Honor, she stammered, How will I report violations without meetings? The judge peered over her glasses. That, Mrs. Harper, is the point. Lisa stood there, speechless, as the reality sank in. Her reign of terror was over, but the neighborhood was left picking up the pieces and the bill off her one-woman crusade.